Having AI agents in your browser is no longer a thing of the past. Today, what I'm going to do is break down two different products, Comet Perplexity and ChatGPT Atlas. What we're going to do is compare the exact same prompt to see what the outcome is so you can figure out which is going to be the best tool for you. By the way, I'm Josh O'Sullivan. I've built and scaled my own AI company. I've also invested over $200,000 in these tools and the education so you don't have to. Let's get into the meat, veg, and the potatoes. So this funky little minx that we've got right here is Comet Perplexity. So Perplexity, they came out with the very first AI agent browser that you can operate. Inside of here, you can download it for Mac, for Windows, and really it's as simple as clicking one button. Before, you used to have tools like extensions inside of Google Chrome, and we used to search inside of Google page by page. With an AI agent in the browser, it's actually going to do all the work for you. There's a whole bunch of use cases I'm going to go through and show you its capabilities, the things that it can do. Let's just do one for now, and really going to see the extent of having a personal assistant and the full depth of understanding of what an AI agent can do to its full capacity. Now, Comet Perplexity is one tool. The other that we've just said is ChatGPT's Atlas. They just dropped this one recently, and Atlas and browser automations as a whole really is taking the AI automation space by storm. If you're not exploring these tools, today is the day that you really want to dive in. This is the future of what AI will be, I believe, personally. So let's jump into Comet Perplexity first. So the first thing you're going to do is come up here and download that. If you're on Mac, if you're on Windows, what have you. I've already done that. I pulled both of these bad boys just here open for you. So I've been playing around with both of these. You can see I've already got a bunch of things happening and operating inside of Perplexity in their browser. Go through the experience of actually putting it onto your desktop, because Comet have created a very enjoyable and a very good onboarding process here. Once you've done that, like any AI agent or any conversational AI product, the first thing you want to do is personalize it, tell it who you are, what you do, how you operate, where you're from, give it all of the opportunities of memory. So when you have a conversation with it, it can save all that stuff as context. That's the baseline and the foundational aspects of operating AI, is giving it all the information so it can do stuff for you so you don't have to. The other options they have is like the connectors here. So the connectors allow you to do a bunch of things inside of Comet, like go through Slack, go through Notion, read all the contexts of your Notion and your business and your workspace, go through your Google Drive, and go through your email and calendar. You can do that on autopilot with their feature called Assistant. So you can have it check the availabilities of your meetings based on your time zone. You can also do email automation. So you can auto draft response replies, auto label, and categorize all of your emails that come inbound into your account. I don't know about you guys, but for me, that is a huge win. The amount of time it takes to do that, and if you watched the previous video, you would see we built an automation AI agent to actually do this job. So rather than having an agent now, you can actually just have a browser that does that. Super simple, super easy. You can also prompt it to do certain tasks every day. So for example, I've got it to every day at 8 a.m., read all of my emails. Simple, basic instruction. And then you can choose a model. If you're on the Max version, you can choose a model and give it all those connectors. Go to the web, check social media, do deep research. If you wanted a report off the back of that for the emails that it's just read, you can get a full report breaking down exactly what that looks like. So let's do that. Let's have Perplexity or Comet in this example. Let's have it go through all of my emails and create a report, generate a report off the back of that. And we'll do exactly the same thing over here in ChatGPT's Atlas. So first, you got to connect all your apps, like I was showing you just over here. Go to your connectors, connect everything up, and then we're going to pick the research function or the labs function. Now, I don't really want to create a completed document in a full report format. I want to just do deep research on all my emails and give me a basic report inside of here, inside of the actual conversational text field. So I'm going to choose this deep research function and the advanced reasoning. And then you can come over here and pick additional tools that you want it to have access to. We're just going to go with web as a baseline, right? And the prompt that we're going to give it is the prompt using something like Whisperflow, a tool to take voice and turn it into text, or you can dictate over here with their dictate function. So we click that function. I want you to go through all of my emails from yesterday and provide me with a full email report breaking down the people that I spoke to, the emails that came inbound, the ones that I haven't replied to. I want you to categorize them and triage them based on the level of importance. In addition to that, I want you to give me example draft reply responses to the tone of voice, speak in the way that I would speak based on the way that I've operated my browser and the kind of emails that I've replied to in the past. So dictation feature, you can see it's pretty wicked. It does it live for us. Now, I will caveat it with, it's still AI. So you still need to direct it in a certain way. So part of this, I also want to say, for me, speak in Australian English, depending on where you're from. If you're in America, it's all gravy, has that as the baseline. But for me, in Oz, we don't spell things like this. That's why it's coming up with a big red section here with a Z. Categorised, we spell with an S, right? So I need to tell it that I want it to speak using Australian English. Your restrictions are you're only to speak using Australian English. In addition, no emojis, no icons, no N dashes. I want you to use typical professional email drafting format. So that right there is a constraint. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to drop that also into ChatGPT in the Atlas browser. And we're going to run this one while I step over into ChatGPT Atlas and we'll see what it comes up with and we'll circle back to that bad boy. So let's run it. This section, it's going to start to tell you what it's doing as a step-by-step process. Now, let's dive into what ChatGPT Atlas is. So jumping in here, if you go into openai.com here, you can check out under ChatGPT Atlas. Now, Atlas, much like Comet's browser, you're going to download, if you've got Mac OS, you can just download direct by clicking this button. And it's going to give you a similar sort of onboarding experience as Perplexity. I'd say it's not as fun, it's not as funky. Perplexity, as you'll see, they give you like a little orb. You can choose the color, function, and format, and all that sort of jazz. Still gives you the same personalization features with ChatGPT, but it doesn't give you the same experience, if you will, of immersion. So that's my first difference between the two, right? It gives you a breakdown on their website of all the possibilities or the things it can do. I will say one thing that really I highlight here is the privacy and data. Is they give you the option for unlocking keychain, which is in Mac OS. It's giving access to all your passwords and all that sort of jazz. So just be aware for yourselves, based on data and privacy, what information you're willing to hand over to an agent. Because whatever you could do with your passwords, if you give the agent the capability to have access and freedom to do anything with keychain, it's going to log into any app and do anything. If it goes off on a tangent and it starts to hallucinate, which as we know with any AI product has the ability to make a bunch of stuff up that doesn't exist. So just, make your decision based on the kind of information and data you want to give it. ChatGPT Atlas, similar format, we get a text field and a text box. One of the differences being you can open up on the side here, like you would have any other ChatGPT workspace. You have the same options here with like your GPTs, your projects, your chats, all that sort of jazz. So you can still jump into the field here and go to ChatGPT like you normally would any other way and chat to it any other way. The plus button that we have down here, similar to the research function, what we want to select is the agent mode. If you want to do research on a specific tab, or if you want to go through your connectors, you would have to go through the same functions that you do to come up with the personalization of ChatGPT. Now, I've covered that in a previous video. If you want to go check that one out, I go into much more detail into personalizing ChatGPT. Let's just take the base format prompt. We can choose, let's say, thinking model, which will be similar to the Perplexity reasoning model. And we want to choose over here, agent mode. And so it's going to prompt, it's going to start logging you in to ChatGPT. So what that means is there's an agent that is going to be operating your browser. Over here, we've just got a basic sort of prompt field, but this one, it's going to take you through, it's going to actually take control of your browser in this example, right? So we've got exactly the same prompt. It's giving us a funky little display on the background, and I want it to think. Now, in this section, for thinking, for selection, for external hard drive, I don't want to give it access to that, so remove that section. You can give it any file, you can give it any piece of information you want, the same as Perplexity. I'm just going to get that funky little monkey going. Now, let's circle back while that's rocking and rolling and see what we've come up with Perplexity. So over here, Perplexity's got an email report. We've got 52 emails from yesterday, 40 emails from nurture campaigns, a bunch requiring action. I got 17 for information, and then we've got a whole bunch of spam. And then it's broken down priorities. So it's given me based on the people and the context. I'm just going to flick through that so you guys can just get a real view and overview of what that is. Now, and workspaces, notifications, it's gone into a whole bunch of depth. I don't know about you, but for me to do that would take me hours. I wouldn't be able to, and I probably wouldn't go into this much detail. So I think Perplexity on the scale, let's give it like a 3/4, in between 3.5 maybe for the level of depth. If you want to personalize that report, you would give it a prompt, go into something like Prompt Cowboy and give it the exact report that you would want. And then it's followed our analysis and tone analysis with, professional, direct Australian English. It's giving me a breakdown that it's giving me that as an output. So jump into that one, have a squiz. I think, 3.5 to 4 is pretty good at this stage. We're still early days, So that is a pretty good outcome. Now, we circle back over to ChatGPT. You see, it's prompting me to log into other accounts. I don't want to do that. It's gone through my emails or my Gmail. I'm just going to leave it at that. So we'll just say disregard Outlook. If I circle back over here to Perplexity, you can see the options that they give you for the connectors. You just connect direct inside of here. You can do the same thing in ChatGPT. I just haven't given access to my Outlook. Okay, so it's still struggling. It looks like the user wants to disregard, understood, set aside as a request. However, as to compile a detailed report on your emails from yesterday, I need to access all relevant accounts. I don't want it to access that. So let's see if that's going to be a blocker here. I don't want a report for Outlook, only Gmail. See if we can follow that basic instruction. So prompting it the same way with how you would prompt any AI, and in the past videos, you would see and go through all the content of coming up with an infused prompt. We give it a role, responsibility, and outcome. It's circled back into Gmail. If you want to be very specific and direct with this, I wanted to give it just a real top line basic prompt to see what the outcome is. And I think at this stage, we can say that Perplexity is already the winner in my mind. Just in terms of the ease of function, the way that the same prompt operated in both is clearly much easier to use and takes significantly less in terms of time. So what do we have here? Let's say this has been five-ish or so minutes. This one, the output less than a minute, and it's gone through 170 sources and emails and searched through everything. And it gives you that here. So you can actually see all the emails it's gone through. Yeah. So look, in terms of the first browser experience, really automating with an AI agent side of Perplexity seems a lot easier. I think being first to market has its benefits for sure. Explore both, I would say, but right now I think ChatGPT and Atlas, they've got a fair way to go in order to match where Perplexity is at. They give you an assistant very similar to this. So if you want to rock and roll with an assistant here, you can go to any website. Let's say you go to where do we want to go? Let's go to, where do we want to go?
Let's go Drive.
To where?
Google Drive, I don't know.
Drive. Yeah, I just don't want people to go through all my Drive emails and shit. What about Amazon? Yeah. So let's go to Amazon, and we just want it to sort of research, go through a whole bunch of products, information here. We're going to stay in Oz, right? So you can see it's got my location and knows where I live already in Amazon, which is great. And I've already logged into Amazon before. So go through the process of logging into Amazon for yourselves so that it can then go through and order or get products based on your description. So with this assistant, we'll just give it the same sort of functionality and drag this bad boy out here. You can select Max. If I scroll, bring this bad boy out a bit. You can select Max, and Max for Perplexity or Comet in this example allows it to have more depth of knowledge and think in a step-by-step process like we do as humans. So if you've got Max, you can flick that bad boy on. I will say it's $200, so it's a bit exy to have that Max. You don't need that for Comet's free off the shelf for just regular Comet. So we'll choose voice mode. So I want you to go through Amazon, look for a new office chair. I want to have a top line chair, go through some of the past office products that I've purchased, my desirable types of products that I go through for my office setup, and provide me with recommendations based on pricing. I want something, top line, something that's expensive on the top end, and then bottom line, something that's a little cheaper. And the use case, I'm spending probably 12 to 18 hours in my chair, which is not ideal, but that is what it is. So give me something that's a little bit more ergonomic. So you can see now it's taking control of my browser here. It started to work through and search the products based on the recommendation. And it's still pulling up my voice here. So it'll go blue around the outside, similar to what ChatGPT has, and it will start searching this product for me on my behalf. So again, with data, limitations, all that sort of jazz, you want to only give it the information you actually need as a use case. So explore that assistant feature, explore that Gmail feature, explore both tools, see what's going to be best use case for you. If you're using ChatGPT, it's off the shelf, it's free. If you're using Perplexity, also the same. So check those bad boys out. Circle back with me. For me, I'd say Perplexity's Comet is going to be my choice off the shelf. I think they're just a lot further along and they've got a lot more options and a lot more to offer. We're early days to web-based automation. There's a lot coming in the future, I think, for web-based automation. I think everyone's going to be searching inside of a web-based automation tool. And I think Google's got a lot to be worried about. See you in the next one, guys.